Make the ground shake.
Hello everyone and welcome to another tank review. This time we are looking at the T-34-1, i.e. the Chinese Tier 7 medium tank. Now this medium tank is a great combination of a hard-hitting gun and somewhat reliable armor. Let's look into the armor first. As always, you can clearly see that this tank has two very key features. That is a very weak hull and a very strong turret. The hull is 60 millimeters upper plate, 75 on the mid plate and 45 on the lower, which means that anything, even a tier 5 tank, can penetrate this reliably if it doesn't hit a very angled surface like this, and it's at an auto bounce angle. The turret, on the other hand, is quite simply the best turret on pretty much any medium tank tier for tier. The T-62A might be a very close competitor to this. If you look at it, it's 170 on its weakest front, with effective armor of around 200, which means that anything at tier 7 cannot penetrate this, if I'm honest, unless it's firing gold, and even at those shots can be a bit dodgy, as you can see. The gun mantlet is also very strong, 150 millimeters, 170, and you get up even up to some ridiculous angles such as this one at 500, 900. These zones here are a bit weaker at 150, but at this point there are ricochets, so this turret is very reliable. Obvious weak spots are the two cupolas at 120, but even still at 120, with these zones of somewhat spaced armor, these viewports, you can get even here some awkward bounces, but those are the weak points, and the turret roof is weak at 30, so it's pretty much an overmatch for anything that can shoot it. So be wary of that if you're facing some tall tanks like a T-29 or maybe even a Tiger. Side of the turret, the 120, also very good, but it's a side of the turret. Then the rear is trash hull, even worse. So stay hull down at all costs, use your limited gun depression at all costs, and you will have a very good games in this thing. I've managed to bounce even BL-10s with this gun, which is probably the highest penetration, hardest penetrating gun you can meet in this tank. Now the gun on this tank is probably a bag of mixed emotions. For starters, we will compare it to the T-20's gun. As you can see, everything around here is better. I mean, it has better penetration, 100 by 15, 100 alpha, and higher alpha damage, not by much, but still somewhat higher DPM, a higher rate of fire, and the shell velocity is not half bad either. So far this gun is pretty much monstrous, but it gets ruined by this. As you can see, if it was all green here, it's all red here. 0.42 accuracy, that is the worst probably on any medium tank that does not get a derp gun. 2.9 second aim time, also pretty horrible, and the dispersion is pretty awful. The elevation 18 is pretty okay. and the gun depression is -5, which can be limiting for the use of the great um, turret. Now if you compare it to the Comet's gun on the other hand, we can see that now it has a very much higher penetration and alpha damage, but the DPM is pretty horrible. But how often can you utilize the DPM on anything? I mean, you have to shoot 2 times and expose yourself a lot more with the Comet compared to this. Now the Comet obviously has greater soft stats and stuff like this. Back to the T20, I think, because I think that tank is probably the closest competitor to this. You can see that this thing has a bit on the other hand, quite a bit worse range at 370. The camo values are exceptionally good on this thing. If you have a camo painted and a full camo crew, you are pretty much a ghost unless you fire. As I said, the gun pretty horrible, but this tank is quite nimble. As you can see, 42 degrees a second traverse is nothing to mess about. Now this is where this tank pretty much gets a bit annoying. I mean, it's not the fastest tank at only 16 horsepower per ton, and its 50 km top speed is not great either, and the soft stats aren't that good, so this is not very compensated as it is on some Russian mediums, especially the tier 10 ones. The health pool at 1050 is probably the lowest of any of the mediums. Another thing to compare this gun is probably the A44's gun. I mean, that is also quite derpy gun and all of that stuff, and we can see that this tank has a lower alpha damage and a lower DPM, but for once this tank is more accurate and faster aiming, and the soft stats are even worse somehow, but maybe because this thing is faster. So all in all, great a brawler. If you get held down, you can rape everything, even some tier 8s and 9s. Avoid long range shots, but if you must, you should take them. Anyway, if we look into the equipment slots, I'd say rammer as a must, since it has a pretty long reload, even though it's very hard hitting. Enhanced gunling drive for the woeful aim time at 2.9, and this sadly cannot use a vertical stabilizer. And the third slot, either vents or optics. I use optics because combined with the great camo, you should be able to spot anything before it spots you. Use a automatic fire extinguisher, since the fuel tanks are around this area, so you can get set on fire from frontal shots. As for crew skills, camo, pretty useful together with brothers in arms, 6 cents, all the good stuff really, 6 cents, snapshot, and smooth ride. Safe storage is pretty much a must, since the ammo racks as well are stored in the front, so that also can be quite useful. Anyway guys, that's enough of the theory about this tank. Let's get into some gameplay. And here we are with the first game, guys. It's an encounter game on steps. I am top tier. This is a very big matchup for me. There are only 4 tier 7s per side. Now I think on the team composition, I am the only moving in the whole game. the Iranian Balkan, and I decided to push the flag quite aggressively, knowing that this is a clear game and Germany don't have so much experience in the game, and they will be probably pushing the ally on the two lines, and as you can see on the minimap, that is exactly right. The only thing that I can expect here is probably the T-25 to over some of the light tanks, but if I do meet them, they should not be very hard to take out. As I make myself up, I am not stopping. I am playing very aggressively at this point, and I am almost into their base at this point. Really surprised nobody went here. I mean, not even one tank. But that is my game. At this point I spot the ARL. He has the stock turret and I have the camo on this tank, and he doesn't spot me until I fire, so I can put one shot into him. And I do the second. Since he is stock, he probably has no chance of pinning me, and I don't know why, but I keep moving here, and now I realize that I shouldn't really. I mean, I'm hold down, he can so he's just free damage for me, and this is the shot that stop arrow. And now moving up, I try to use these bushes here to conceal myself if somebody is in ambush. I have to worry about that T-25 too. And I do spot the T-25 too. He is having the stock turret and the stock gun, which means that he has worse reload than mine. And I put a shot into him, don't get spotted, and now I move up. It's still 5-7, and we have some HP loss, which means that I will have to push very hard. The Leopards was the R2, but I think that he will be able to deal with him pretty easily. Now you will see the bad accuracy of the gun and move, so that was that. I do have shots on his turret, but the gun doesn't shoot properly. Now I do not have enough protection. He bounces on my side, which means that I can take a shot into him. That's a very good shot. The KV-3, I am worried about him. He's gun mantled, and he rolls up. I realized that he has the 107 mil, which means that he basically has a much higher DPM, but his alpha damage is lower, and the penetration is around the same. If he hits my hull, he will pen. Into the turret. I'm worried about his eyes too, so I will try to prioritize him, and luckily is enough for me to take him out. Now I do 3 damage and a tunnel vision with the T-25 too. And now for what this is a large type, don't be worried about them. I do put another shot into the T-25, and now the KV-3 decides to push me, and this tank rapes heavies because it has the mobility and it has the punchy gun. It is lacking a bit in DPM, that was that. Luckily the KV-3 bounces, I don't know how, but he did, and I will put
目标被击中，
something to his engine bay. Unfortunately, it doesn't set him on fire, which means I will try to pick another. I will have to
敌方战车被击毁，
25 pushes me,
敌特履带被击中，
and I take him.
我们把目标干掉了。
That was a very aggressive push that led to victory in this matchup, because if it wasn't for that, my team was gonna get rough stomped at the end of that. We would have probably lost the game. Considering time, and a lot of the enemy team went back to it, and they weren't able to. Now I do spot this KV2, sorry.
我们重创目标，
Engine bay. He spots me, and I fall back just to be sure a bit, but there is no.
敌方坦克被击毁，寻找
It was a
下一
very
目标
quick。game. Let's look into the post-battle results. And these are the post-battle results of the steps encounter game. As you can see, Ace Tanker against some tokens, and High Caliber 1 kill away from a Top Gun, which was quite disappointing, but that was that. If we look into the team score, we can see that we did finish top 1 experience with 1337 with 3.4k damage done and 5 kills. Again, I would say 1 kill away from a Top Gun. If we look into the team score, we can see that we did fire 23 shots, 19 hit and 17 penetrated, which is quite usual for this gun. I mean, it is not a very good sniper. It's not nowhere near the Panther levels of accuracy. We did 3.4k damage, and only one shot was from 300 meters. That shot on the KV2, we did receive 10 hits, only 2 penetrated and 8 bounced, which showcases the great turret armor capabilities of this tank. I mean, we did the block 1.3k damage with this thing, which is quite impressive for a tier 7 medium. And if we did receive one more hit, even though if it were to penetrate, we would have received a steel wall. We did only 82 assistance damage. I mean, all that I've spotted pretty much shot myself. Nobody was there to assist me, it has to be said. And we did travel quite a bit, at 2.5 kilometers. I mean, we did a big circle around the map. Let's look into the second game, and off we go with the second game.
开始行动，
This time it's a standard battle on cliff. Again, I am top tier in this matchup, and there are 5 tier 7s on each side. When we look into the team composition, we can see that my team has somewhat stronger players, but that doesn't mean a certain victory. Luckily for us, there is no artillery in this game, so no out of nowhere one shots for us today, sadly. And now I will go to a position that is a must for any type of somewhat mobile tank. If there is no artillery in the game, this tank has very good camo, and I will try to abuse it, but the enemy makes an even more aggressive push. As you saw there, I wasn't spotted until I shot the comet, and I will try to do it one more time, and that was probably server lag, or my internet connection was a bit dodgy because I would not have taken it. Now the comet is not even focusing me, which means that I can shoot him one more time. He gets taken out by the aerial. I do have shots on this T-34-1. I am pretty hull down, so I am pretty much immune for anything that can shoot me. I do have shots on this T-34. He shot me once and that was enough to take him out. The cheater from the base sniped me and he shot my rear of the turret, which is an easy penetration, no doubt about it. Now this is probably a waste of time. The chances of me hitting that shot were pretty slim with this horrible aim time and accuracy combo. I do have shots on this T1 heavy, I auto-aimed and that completely missed. I do have one more shot and this time it is fully aimed, and the side of a T1 heavy is not the strongest thing to penetrate. Already up to 1.4k damage, I decide to move up and the M7 I think spots the T-34-1 in base. He is a very dangerous tank, but he's in the open and his hull is pretty exposed and he is an easy target. I do put 2 shots into him and even at 500 meters the gun, when aimed, it can hit, but the last shot, as you saw there, missed. So it's not, this thing is not a very good sniper. I mean, it has the camo for it, but the gun is just meant for a brawling, as you will see during this next sequence. I did saw that the T-34-85 was last spotted here, and there he is. He tried to make a run for it, but since he was in one shot range, I took care of him. I do have shots on the rear of the IS, and he doesn't even pay attention to me at this point, so I can use and abuse him. I forgot about the T-25-2 and moved back into cover, even though we exchanged fire, and another great rear shot into the IS. He's a one shot for me at this point, and bye bye IS. 3000 damage at this point, and building up quite effectively with this gun. I mean, the DPM is not high, but how often can you utilize a very good DPM? I do have side shots on this T-25-2. He tried to move, but I aimed enough so I could hit him. Now I am 1 kill away from a top gun, and I will try to move up in order to get it. The Su-85 is sniping from base, and I'm not really worried about him, even though he can pen me easily, but I do have enough health. I missed the shot on the Cheeto. It was a dodged shot. He was pretty much in cover, and now the SU is pouring fire into my side, but it doesn't really matter at this point. The game is won, and I am trying to get the top gun. I have to be honest, and I really want it. I mean, I am the one furthest up here, and I am worried that my gun. I am hoping that my gun won't let me down for the last kill of the game. I can take a shot from the Panzer IV, and hopefully I can take my top gun. I do get spotted. He shots, and he is in a one shot range. I slightly aim, and that was that for this game. Let's get into the post-battle results. These are the post-battle results of the Cliff game. As you can see, I've managed to get ace tanker, some tokens, top gun and high caliber, which means that our top gun was justified since we did quite a lot of damage. If we look into the team score, we can see that we did finish on top on experience by far with 1436 with 3.5k damage done and 6 kills. We fired 20 shots, hit 15 and penetrated 15, which showcases two very important things on this tank. If it hits a tier 7 tank, it's likely to penetrate since it has a very good penetration, but the accuracy, as I said, is pretty horrible. So we managed to hit we missed 5 shots out of 3.5k damage. 500 were at sniping distance since those 2 shots on the T-34-1. We did receive 9 hits, 6 penetrated and 3 bounced. somehow, and 395 damage block armor, since we weren't using our turret all that good, and around 900 damage of us from assistance. Anyway guys, this was my take on the T-34-1. To me it's probably the best tier 7 mediums. It has its ups, it has its downs, it has its pros and cons. I like it, hope you do too, and hope you enjoyed this review, and bye for now.